it's great to be back and to be with you all again and to see your smiling faces and to appreciate you. It's really wonderful. Just listening to the music this morning, I was encouraged when Stephen told us to sing without any instruments, how much harmony there was. And I'm going to weave in two different things in this message. One is to do with an event, to do with a regular time that we're going to have every Monday evening here, which is going to be developing acoustic praise harmony. So if you want to join that, I'll explain a bit later. And I'm going to weave that in with a message and have a song to do with the message. So first of all, I'm going to use this. Now, that's I haven't played this for a long time, but I played it this morning, and Lorna and I played together. And I'm just going to show you something, because what we're going to do every Monday, not this Monday, but the following one, starting after half term, we're going to have a music session for anyone who wants to be involved. It'll be singing. We did have a choir before COVID with us and another church, and we're going to resurrect that choir. Some of them are coming to it. This will be Mondays at 7 o'clock. Or, well, actually, if you bring us sandwiches and things to have a packed meal, that will save you having to go home first if you're coming from work. Anyway, you can talk to me about it afterwards in terms of timing. We'll actually start the singing and the playing at 7:30, and we'll be doing songs like we've been doing now. We'll be doing some more harmony to them. If you play an instrument, we'll be having instruments played. I'm going to cast the net wide across the city. I've been talking to some of the pastors on Thursday about the whole idea, and trying to coordinate musicians across the city. We have some beautiful musicians here, but I want to develop what I call acoustic praise, which is like developing instruments that aren't electronic. Nothing wrong with electronic instruments. I really enjoy the songs. You listen online to some beautiful songs, don't you? Really wonderful. You Are the Word at the Beginning, for instance, or some of the ones we sung just now, Jesus' name, proclaiming his name. Beautiful songs, and some old songs too. So we'll see how things develop. We're going to start Monday week, and I'll have some songs prepared. We'll see who comes along, and then if we've got instrumentalists come along, they can play along as well. Why have I got a recorder? Because I used to teach the recorder a long time ago. I wouldn't like to say how long, but almost, well, in 1975-ish. That's a long time ago, isn't it? And I had a small recorder group in the school when I was a school teacher, and we used to play by ear without any music. And the idea was to get harmonies going, and the students were 6, 8, 9-year-olds. So if you've got any children that you'd like them to learn to develop their music, they can learn the guitar, the piano, but to have an instrument which you have to tune, basically either a wind instrument or a stringed instrument or a brass instrument. This is a blowing instrument, so it gets you blowing, and then you can start to blow a flute, or you could start to blow a trumpet, if you like to blow your own trumpet. You can start to blow an oboe, a clarinet, and there are people across the city, I know some of them, who play other instruments, so try and invite them along on the Mondays too. And we'll have a time of what we call acoustic praise. So whoever comes, we'll harmonise, we'll write music for them, we'll sing new songs, we'll sing old songs, we'll sing songs that are made in Oxford songs. So I'm sort of casting the net wide here. I'm trying to withdraw from Robert's Pianos and pass it on to the team. And I've got some great people working with me. So we're going to try to develop that so they can work on their own, and I can dedicate more time to this, because I have a passion for developing acoustic praise and harmony across the city. So that's the general idea. Anyway, let's get to the recorder. I'm going to play a song which you'll probably know. You will definitely know. And this is the kind of song that's not too difficult on the recorder. And then Lorna's going to come up and show that having started with the recorder, you can develop onto other instruments. You got the idea, so that's enough of me on the recorder. Lorna can play now, and having learnt on the recorder and do harmonies with other... Oh, by the way, that was a baby recorder. This is a daddy recorder. And you can play a different sound. That's the sort of standard, what we call treble recorder. So there are three other recorders actually, bigger ones. They get bigger as they go along. And to hear them in harmony is really beautiful. So that's something, if you've got children, we try and develop their ability to hear and to play instruments. Now they probably won't be on this Monday evening because it's too late for them, so I have to discuss with you, if you want your children to learn instruments, then I just want to give my time to developing that. And others from other churches too will invite children, and we'll see how things work out. As you can see, I'm sort of painting a broad picture. We'll see what God does. Now Lorna and I are going to play together. We rehearsed this morning, so this is how it could sound. Do you want to come this side? And then you'll be more, that's it, good. And then we'll see how you can develop. Very good. Lovely, lovely. So we'll be working towards performances, though don't get too scared. If you come along on Mondays, we won't be asking you to perform. Well, we may be. I mean, if you're really good, then we'll be performing straight away. And maybe aiming for something like at Pentecost, we can do a performance. Anyway, I don't know if you're inspired by any of that, but do come along Monday week then. At 7 o'clock, if you can have a little bite to eat together, and then at 7:30 we'll start, and we'll see what God does. How about that? I got inspired to do this actually in Houston. I've been praying about the whole idea of doing this Monday evenings, and I was thinking, well, you know, Lord, it's a commitment. I already felt very strongly, but I wanted a bit more confirmation. And as it happened, the last Sunday we were there was two children at the front, and they brought a cello and a trumpet. And they didn't play them in the meeting at all. But after the meeting, I was eating, and there's a big building they've got. I was eating in the other room, and I thought, I've had no reason at all, other than God guiding me, because I went into the main hall, very big hall. At the back of the main hall, I could hear a cello playing. And he was playing a tune, which actually you will probably know quite well. I might as well play it. Here we go. He was playing... which you'll probably recognise that they do on the last night of the proms, Land of Hope and Glory. Not very American, is it? It's all about England and the flags waving, that song, isn't it? And he said, is that a wedding song? Anyway... I thought, well, I'll join in, I'll get the guitar, play along with him. And the trumpet player knew how to play as well. Now, yeah, look, they're both little boys. One was 10-ish, the other was 8 or so. And they played really well together, and I played along with them. And it really encouraged me, because there are lots of children in Oxford who learn instruments. I've no idea how many Christians. And it's giving them a place in the meeting. That's what my passion is. It's joining them together. In Oxford, we could actually probably have a lot of Christian children playing together, and adults too, violinists. I know violin teachers in Oxford, and and cello and so on, very good violin players, and getting them all together and making music together and putting on concerts, definitely, but it's really to develop each individual and then to do something. You know, a lot of these children, they'll learn the cello or the violin or flute up to sort of grade 5, 6, 7. Grades go up to 8 in the grade system in England, and then they'll give up. And I think to give them a place in the meeting will help them to sort of continue. And after all, why do you learn an instrument? To praise God, primarily, according to what we believe, isn't it? To worship God, to praise him. So I'm calling the evenings Acoustic Praise Harmony, to try to encourage that in the church generally. So anyway, I went on a bit longer than I expected about that. We have a new song, and I have a theme for today, and the theme is one that I've touched on quite a bit. Do you remember last time we were talking about 1 Corinthians 13, about love? Love suffers long and is kind. Love never envies, love is not puffed up. And this is related to that. And I've got a song which says, if Jesus loved us so much, and it's taken from 1 John 3:16. 1 John 3:16 says, this is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought also to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. And that's something you all do already, but just want to try and encourage us along the lines that we're already going on. And it's also taken from John 15, verse 10 to 13. And John 15, 10 to 13 says, if you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I've kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I've told you this so that my joy may be in you, and your joy may be complete. Jesus wants to have complete joy, and the complete joy comes when we keep his commands. My command is this: love each other as I've loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. And Jesus gave us a new command. And you might think, well, in the Old Testament they were taught to love. In the Old Testament it says that you should love your neighbor as yourself. That's the fulfillment of the law. But in the New Testament, Jesus says a new command. This is John 13:34. A new command I give to you. Love one another. Now, why was it new? Because there was an Old Testament love. But the key is this: love one another as I have loved you. And he loved to the death, literally. Completely loved. Absolute love. The Bible talks to us about us having a passionate love, fervent love for one another. By this everyone will know that you're my disciples. If we want the church to grow, then the key is to have a loving church. And then as people come in, then they're going to feel that love. They're going to want to stay. They're going to say, yes, I can feel a tremendous love of Jesus here. Now, we are developing that. To encourage us, I want to just meditate a bit more on this, for you to think about how we can do this in practice. So later on, we're going to look at it in practice. But I've got a song. I have this habit, don't I, of trying to get songs to go with the messages. And the song comes from those two scriptures. If Jesus loved us so much, then we should love one another. He said, greater love has no one than this, than he lay down his life for his friends. And you are my friends. It's an interesting word, friends, isn't it? Can you imagine that the one who created the universe wants to be our friend? It's as if God has this inner desire for friendship. And what's a friend? It's somebody that you want to hang out with, as they say nowadays. Somebody you want to be with. A friend is somebody that you want to spend face-to-face time with. You want to get together for coffee these days. You want to get together. On Monday night, we're going to develop friendship by playing together. Let's realize this incredible thought that God, the creator of the universe, the creator of you, he made you to be his friend. Why did God make me? I no longer call you, he said, no longer call you servants, I call you friends. Friends. Just think about it for a bit. Concept of love, concept of God and relating to him is very much, we serve him, which is what Jesus said in this passage. But Jesus said, I no longer call you servants, I call you friends if you do what I command you. He wants to be our friend. He doesn't want to be our judge. He doesn't want to sit in judgment over us. He wants to befriend us. So he can walk friendship with God. Isn't that wonderful? Developing it. And friendship with one another. So it says, the next bit goes on amazingly to say, greater love has no one than this, he lays down his life for his friends. And you are my friends if you keep my commandments. And this is my commandment, that you love one another. There's a full circle argument that John has, both in here and also in 1 John 3. He says, if Jesus loved us, we ought to love one another. And later on he says, if we love one another, then the love of God is in us. There's a circular thing here. I don't know how often we've talked about this, but it is the key to everything, isn't it? It's the key goal. I want you to have my friendship. I want to be friends with you. And how do we do that? By loving one another. It's not a mystical thing. There's a lot of mystical Christianity, and there's nothing wrong with obviously being on your own and having a vision like Peter did when he saw the blanket come down with all the animals on it. You know, to have that intimate time with God, that's great. But the goal that God has for us is this friendship, and the goal he has for us is this unity. Very clear in John 17, isn't it? That they will be one. Well, this is not new, and I often speak around this theme because I just feel it's so important for it to have a central in our hearts, central thing. So if Jesus loved us so much, then we should love one another. We're going to play this together. Do you want to play? Sing it together. And I just want you to... The thing about songs is you'll forget everything I've said, but you may not forget a song. Just think about 10,000 Reasons. Matt Redman wrote that song. I bet you don't know any of Matt Redman's preaching, do you? But he is a preacher as well. I bet you've never heard the preaching. Go on, I'm sure you're going to find some on YouTube. But 10,000 Reasons has been sung 10,000 times, 100,000 times, 1,000,000 times, 10 million times, 50 million times, round the world. So songs are important, very important. And that's why I like to try and write a song. And if you come on the Mondays, I will try to encourage you to write your own songs and maybe help you to put the music to them. Because being creative, you know, God's a creative God and he likes creative people. So let's stir up all the gifts we've got, shall we? So if Jesus loved us so much, then we should love one another. Let's learn this song, new song. Let's hope it works. Not all new songs work, so I'm hoping this one's going to work. If Jesus loved us so much, then we should love one another. He said, greater love has no one than this, than he laid down his life for his friends. And you are my friends, if you keep my commandments. And this is my commandment, that you love one another. If Jesus loved us so much, then we should love one another. He said, greater love has no man than this, than he laid down his life for his friends. And you are my friends, if you keep my commandment. And this is my commandment, that you love one another. One more time. Jesus loved us so much, and we should love one another. He said, greater love has no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. And you are my friends, if you in Houston, and recently on the Bible in 1 year, we read the story of Joseph. Do you like the story of Joseph? Whenever I get to the story of Joseph, I think more than any other story, apart from Jesus, of course, I just want to hear the next bit. And the funny thing is that we know what's happened at the beginning, because Joseph, you know, his dad gave him a coat of many colors. They all got jealous. Then he went and told them these dreams about them bowing down to him, and about even the second dream about his father and mother bowing down to him. And they said, "What on earth do you mean by this? Do you think we're going to bow down to you?" That wasn't the best thing to have said to them. He had the dreams. That was a good vision for him to know where he was going, that he would somehow end up in this amazing place where he was having his brothers and sisters, bowing down to him, and his father's another too. Extraordinary, because he was the youngest son, or one of the youngest sons, second youngest, and his brothers hated him. So what do? Well, you know what they do if you know the story. If you don't know, read it. It's the most amazing story. It's one of those stories you just can't stop reading. It's about 10 chapters of the Bible, so I'm not going to do it now. But just briefly, what I want to point out is this. They put him in a system, and then one of the brothers had compassion. I think it was Simon or Reuben, said, "No, we can't do that. We can't. Let's kill him," they said. "No, let's not kill him." Now, can you imagine the hate that you could have had for your brothers if they were going to kill you? What do? They sold him to the Ishmaelites. And the Ishmaelites sold him in Egypt. And he worked for Potiphar. And Potiphar's wife wanted to sleep with him, and he wouldn't. But she ended up having his cloak and saying, "Oh, he wanted to sleep with me." And so his husband came back, and he got put in prison. He was in prison. He had dreams. He had two of the prisoners had dreams, and he interpreted them. And he said to the one who got the positive dream, I know I'm summarizing it terribly, but he said, "Don't forget me when you come to Pharaoh." And he did. For 2 years longer, he forgot him. And then, you know what happened? He ended up ruler of Egypt. He gave out all the food. There's lots of bits I'm missing out. But if I want you to imagine, all your brothers come to you, and the first half is, you know what the brothers were doing? They came to buy food because there was a famine. They went back to their father and said, "This man who's ruling Egypt," because they didn't know it was Joseph, was harsh on us. And he told us that we had to bring our other brother who, anyway, I can't tell the whole story because it's not long enough. But basically, when they came to Egypt, the point I want to make is they thought when they realized it was Joseph will kill them, or Joseph will be really cross, and Joseph will take vengeance on them, especially after the father had died. But Joseph says something amazing. He said, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." And instead of holding in his heart hate for his brothers, he forgave them. And that's what Jesus does. You know that the number of times we've let the Lord down, he forgives us. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because if we want to develop love for one another, then we really have to forgive anything that people have done to us, however close they are. And family members, close family members, they're the worst very often. Well, in this story they are, aren't they? In this story, they're the worst. And in the end, they got humiliated, which is the right thing. You know, their father was kept in the dark about the fact that Joseph still existed for about at least 7 years, maybe 10 years, was kept in the dark. And they lied to their father and said he's been torn by animals. They did so many wicked things, and you and I, we do lots of wicked things. You may think, well, not as wicked as that, but sin doesn't have categories. If we've sinned, and we need to ask God to forgive us. And if we've sinned against somebody, we need to ask forgiveness. So, just briefly, I want to encourage you that we should love one another, even if our brother and sister done something wrong. The ones we live close to, the family members, even if they've done something wrong to us, we should love them and forgive them and just be like Joseph, just serve. Wherever Joseph went, he ended up ruling. In the prison, he ended up ruling. In Potiphar's house, he was ruling. He ruled the whole of Egypt. Why? Because he was just serving. And you and I, if we want to develop our character, then let's be like Joseph. Just never have any hate for anyone who's done anything to you. That's so important. And for those who live in our household, they're the hardest relationships very often, the ones we live with. They're the people that we often find it hardest because we're close to them all the time. And we need to have an attitude of humility. 1 Corinthians 13, suffering long, being kind, never envying, never boasting. Love forgives all things, says. So that's important. Now, what I want to finish off with is a few practical suggestions before we sing again. Sorry about this. I've given over 5 minutes, haven't I? So how we're going to develop this love for one another. After the meeting, we're going to chat together. And I just want to encourage you as well, when we're reaching out to neighbours and friends, to just take a little bit longer when we chat to them. When you say hello to your next door neighbour, how are you? You know, my name is so-and-so, and just get to know them a bit and pray for them. Whenever we're with people, we pray for them. That's the first time we do. And pray, so God, is there anything you can show me about this person? Is there anything I can, any way I can show love towards them? Your next door neighbour, your friends at work, whatever it might be, just taking longer with each person and spending a bit more time talking to them. You know, even in the supermarket, saying, God bless you to the people at the till. I'm going on to evangelism now, but it's all related together, isn't it? All related together about loving not just one another, but everyone else that we see around us. Taking an interest in them, finding out about them. I don't know about you, but on your street, you may have what we've got, which is a WhatsApp group. And every day, practically, someone says, I've got this to give away, I've got this to give away, I've got this. We had a puzzle that we did, and it was 500 pieces, and there's too many pieces. I just don't have time to do that, personally. But when Nerissa and I go to the charity shops, and I look at the puzzles thinking, I quite like puzzles, but they're all 1,000 pieces, and I think, I'm never going to have time to do a 1,000-piece puzzle, and I'll probably lose some pieces. This was 500, beautiful birds piece puzzle, and we did it in the end, and and we didn't lose any pieces. And then Nerissa put it on the WhatsApp group for Edgway Road. And does anybody want this? And there's this Jewish family on our street who the wife has come to some English classes, and they wrote in saying we'd love it. And so Nerissa bottled it up and gave it to them. And I was the next day I was downstairs, and there was one piece of the jigsaw puzzle on the floor. So I picked it up and said, we've got to give that to them. So we went to see them this was yesterday actually, we went to see them yesterday and dropped off the piece. And we're just praying for that family. They're actually quite traditional Jewish family. And we're really trying to sort of like pray for them, reach out to them. Maybe it's difficult to invite them for a meal because all their food is, you know, they're very traditional. But we're going to try and get close to them. So I don't know who you live nearby, but the WhatsApp group's really useful. If you've got a WhatsApp group on your street, you can do things like that. Maybe you haven't got one. Maybe you could ask your next door neighbour, is there a WhatsApp group on our street? Maybe you hate WhatsApp groups, which is fine, in which case you can just talk to them as you see them in the street. These are just some suggestions, but I want to encourage you, practical ways of loving each other in the church, and we do lots of meals together, which is a very good practical way of loving one another. And we chat to each other, we spend time together. But then taking that outside as well and trying to encourage people around you to come to the church. Invite them to the church. And Rita writes everybody, even the dogs, to the church. She gives them a leaflet, you know, not the dogs, I mean, but she gives leaflets to the people, and you can bring your dog as well. So I want to encourage you just to sow seeds, really. You never know when a seed's going to produce fruit. You never know. Well, I've got a lot more I could share. And I've run out of time, and we're going to sing that song again. But I want to encourage you and going back to the Monday nights, if you can come along on a Monday night and you'd like to come, I'll do my best to try and develop whatever singing, playing an instrument, whatever it might be. If your children, maybe Monday night's not so good for them. If you want your children to learn an instrument, come up to me and talk to me, and we'll try and organise something. And I'm also going to be sending out the message to all the pastors and the people I know in Oxford to try and encourage them to get involved as well. So that's about it. Shall we sing? Shall we love one another? So we'll sing this song, then stand up, and as it's a song about loving one another, we can hold hands, we can sing it as together, shall we? If Jesus loved us so much, then we should love one another. He said, greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friend. And you are my friend, if you keep my commandments. And this is my command, that you love one another. Jesus loved us so much, that we should love one another. He said, greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. And you are my friend, if you keep my commandments. And this is my command, that you love one another. One more time from the top. If Jesus loved. If Jesus loved us so much, and we should love one another. He said, greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friend. And you are my friend, if you keep my commandments. And this is my commandment, that you love one another. And you are my friend, if you keep my commandments. And this is my commandment, that you love one another. And this is my command, that you love one another.